I'm going to call this meeting of the Ulster County Legislature to order. Everyone please rise for the pledge and remain standing. Legislator Parody, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As I stated last month, we're going to have a theme for every month. This month, we're promoting kyphosis awareness. We're going to have some folks. We're going to have some folks come up a little bit later, guests of Kevin Roberts this evening, and talk to us a little bit more about that. And now the clerk will read the announcements.
Fire evacuation plan. Please note that in the event of an emergency, the fire department has requested that legislators and all others move at least 1 block away from the county office building in order not to impede the firefighters in their duties. Cell phones. Please silence cell phones for the duration of the public hearings. End of session. Microphones. Please be reminded to use your microphones when speaking so that you are recorded for the official record. Roll call. Allen.
Here.
Bartels. Here. Belfilio.
Here.
Berkey.
Here.
Briggs.
Present.
DeLon.
Here.
Donaldson.
Here.
Fabiano.
Here.
Jarentine.
Yes.
Green.
Here.
Hepner.
Here.
Lab.
Here.
Litz.
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
Lauren.
Here.
Mayo. Maloney.
Here.
Parody John.
Here.
Parody Richard.
Here.
Roberts. Rodriguez.
Present.
Ronk.
Here.
And Waro.
Here.
22 present, 1 absent. Tonight's first public hearing is for the proposed acquisition for public purpose of property for the construction of the Hudson Valley Rail Trail West Phase 4 in the town of Lloyd.
At this time, I'd like to call upon Chris White from the Planning Department to come up and lead us in this public hearing.
Good evening. I'm Chris White, the Deputy Director of Planning for Ulster County and the Project Manager for the Hudson Valley Rail Trail West Phase 4, which is the subject of tonight's hearing. As you know, the county began the Phase 4 project last year as part of our efforts to connect the Hudson Valley and Wallkill Valley rail trails and create an interconnected county non-motorized trail network. Phase 4 will extend the Hudson Valley Rail Trail 1.2 miles from New Paltz Road to South Road in the town of Lloyd, New York, and our project consultants will give more details shortly. This public hearing is required because the county has received significant federal funding for the project. I will now invite our consultants R.K. Height and Hudson Valley Engineering Associates to briefly overview the project and the right-of-way acquisition process, after which we will accept public comments on the project. I'd like to introduce Jim Deloria from R.K. Height.
Good evening. My name is Jim Deloria. I am the right-of-way consultant for the Phase 4 project, also known as PIN 8761.21. The purpose of this public hearing is to meet the legal requirements of Article 2 of the Eminent Domain Procedure Law and is required for federally funded transportation projects involving right-of-way acquisition. A notice of the public hearing was published in the Daily Freeman and the Poughkeepsie Journal for 5 consecutive days beginning June 7, 2016. The notice was also published in the New Paltz Times, the Shawanagan Journal, and the Southern Ulster Times on June 9, 2016 and June 16, 2016. A copy of the notice of public hearing was sent to the assessment record billing owners impacted by the project. The purpose of the public hearing are to provide information on the project background, explain the project's public use, benefits, purpose, describe the location of the project, and explain the reasons for the selection of this site. Discuss the general effects of the project, identify the property interest the county will need to acquire in order to accomplish the project, and to accept and consider public comments. The statements made during tonight's hearing will be recorded by a stenographer. Additionally, various documents have been made available for public inspection. Those documents have been pre-marked as exhibits and will be incorporated into the record of this hearing. Public comments and other documents related to the project will be accepted until July 1, 2016, and should be addressed to the Ulster County Planning Department at Post Office Box 1800, Kingston, New York, 12402. All oral and written comments and documents will be included in the hearing record. Copies of the hearing transcript and exhibits will be available to the public without cost during normal business hours at the Ulster County Planning Department and will also be posted to the department's website. Within 90 days after the record of hearing is complete, the entire record will be delivered to the county legislature for consideration and rendering of its determination and findings concerning this project. A brief synopsis of the legislature's determination and findings will be published in appropriate newspapers and also mailed to assessment record billing owners. The exhibits are pre-marked that are going to be incorporated into the record will be made available for public review, including the following. Exhibit 1 is a copy of the notices submitted to the newspapers mentioned previously, along with the affidavits of publication. Exhibits 2 through 5 are copies of letter notices mailed to each of the assessment record billing owners, along with copies of certified mailings and return receipt documents. Exhibit 6 is a copy of the affidavit of mailing for the letter notices. Exhibit 7 is a copy of the draft design report prepared by Hudson Valley Engineering Associates, the engineering firm retained by the county to design the project. The report includes many of the technical details, including the scope and evolution, alternatives, and environmental, historical, and social factors considered. Finally, in addition to the pre-marked exhibits, the stenographic record of the oral public comments and all written comments and documents will be entered into the hearing, recorded as Exhibit 8. At this time, I would request that all pre-marked exhibits be admitted into the record of these proceedings. I would now like to introduce Jack Gorton, the project consultant from Hudson Valley Engineering. Jack will present the design portion of tonight's presentation.
Thank you, Jim. The Phase 4 project involves the design and construction of a 1.2-mile, fully accessible, non-motorized pedestrian and bicycle trail. Phase 4 will build upon the existing Hudson Valley Rail Trail and the planned Phase 3 extension, which the town of Lloyd plans to construct later this year. The project is a key link in connecting the Hudson Valley and Wallkill Valley rail trails between the towns of Lloyd and New Paltz. The project was awarded competitive federal funding through a grant under the Transportation Alternatives Program, which funds 80% of the project. As many of you know, the existing Hudson Valley Rail Trail is a 12-foot wide, asphalt-paved, shared-use trail that extends approximately 3.5 miles from the walkway over the Hudson to the Tony Williams Park in the town of Lloyd. The town of Lloyd is currently finalizing the design of the trail's Phase 3 project, which will extend the existing trail 0.7 miles from Tony Williams Park westward to New Paltz Road. The county's Phase 4 will start at the Phase 3 endpoint at New Paltz Road and extend the trail westward to the intersection of South Street and Route 299. As shown on the maps displayed on the boards outside of the room, the Phase 4 trail extension from New Paltz Road to South Street will be similar to the previously built sections, which follow the general alignment of the abandoned Penn Central Railroad. A new trailhead parking area with approximately 10 spaces is proposed just east of South Street, and improvements will also be made to the Route 299 South Street intersection to ensure pedestrian safety. The project also includes the rehabilitation of a culvert carrying the Black Creek under the trail. In order to provide a trail that is functional, appealing, and accessible for all users, the trail will be constructed on the abandoned railroad bed to the maximum extent possible, which is flat and offset from Route 299. The proposed trail alignment was selected to avoid wetland impacts from alternate routes and shield the trail from traffic where possible. and some adjustments from the railroad bed were made to protect the privacy of adjacent neighbors. The goals of the project are to improve quality of life for local residents, increase tourism and economic development, expand recreational opportunities, offer non-motorized transportation alternatives, and further develop an interconnected county rail trail network. The project requires the acquisition of permanent easements across 4 privately owned properties. These impacted properties are tax parcels 87.1-2-23.100, 87.1-2-23.200, 87.1-2-10.200, and 87.1-2-12. The owners have been contacted previously, and we have met with most of them to discuss the project and get feedback to minimize potential impacts to their properties. Fencing and/or vegetative buffers will be installed where needed to mitigate safety and privacy concerns, and safety enhancements at driveway crossings will be installed. The county is conducting appraisals for the needed easements and will negotiate with the property owners once the appraisals are completed. The county is committed to negotiating in good faith with the property owners for the needed easements, and eminent domain would be considered only as a last resort. It is important to note that the proposed acquisitions are narrow, linear easements along the former railroad bed. This land is largely undevelopable and will not displace any businesses or residents. The future development of these parcels has been taken into consideration, and crossings of the trail will be accommodated when deemed necessary. The project is being developed in compliance with all state and federal environmental regulations, including the State Environmental Quality Review Act and the National Environmental Policy Act. All required permits will be obtained prior to construction, and it is anticipated that the project will have no adverse environmental impacts. The construction of the Phase 4 extension is scheduled to begin in 2017. This concludes the presentation, so I will turn the hearing over to the legislative staff in a moment. Please note that the required format for this hearing does not allow us to respond to your statements and questions at this time. However, all statements and comments received will be considered in the preparation of the determination and findings. Written comments, questions, and documents will be accepted by the county until the close of business on July 1st, 2016, and can be submitted to the Ulster County Planning Department at 244 Fair Street, P.O. Box 1800, Kingston, New York 12402. Thank you.
There are 8 speakers signed up for comment, and the first speaker is Ray Costantino.
For this public hearing, I'm going to be allowing 3 minutes per person for public comment.
Hello, my name's Ray Costantino, past supervisor, Town of Lloyd. In 1995, I had the idea of building a rail trail in the Town of Lloyd on an old rail bed. And I got the support of the Rotary Club, and we started clearing, and we paved the first section in 1999. I immediately got voted out of office because I was competing with baseball and soccer, and rail trails weren't in vogue. So, you know, when you sign up and you run for elected office, you want to make a difference. You really want to do something, and you look around your town and how can I improve the town? And you realize that the water and sewer is all in the wrong places for development, and what do you have that your town doesn't have, the other towns have? So we captured this Trail Towns book, one of our exhibits we went to, and it talks about trail-based tourism. And I just want to read one little paragraph, and it talks about what's a trail town. And it says, any trail, long or short, is a valuable asset to a community. It provides free recreation for people of all ages and fitness levels, and offers opportunities to study nature or local history. This guide is oriented to towns that connect to long-distance trails, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect all these trails. Ones that attract travelers from outside the local community and are not used solely for nearby residents. Studies show that the longer a trail is, the further people will travel to visit it. The longer they will stay and the more money they will spend. A day tripper will spend 4 times as much as a local user will spend, and the overnight visitor will spend twice the amount that a day tripper will spend. So Town of Lloyd became a trail town, and we saw the buildings and the restaurants and the little stores downtown improve, and we see bikes now parked in front of our stores. We've got new development downtown, and I think we finally got the idea that we do have something. We have a trail, and it runs through our town. Thank you.
Paul Hansett.
As he walks up, I just want to say what an honor it is to welcome former legislator, former Majority Leader Hansett back to the body.
This is a thrill, I have to tell you. It is nice to see so many friendly faces, to see some are still here. God bless you, and thank you for your service to our county. My name is Paul Hansett, and I am the present Town of Lloyd Supervisor. And I thank you for the opportunity to comment tonight on the county's Hudson Valley Rail Trail Phase Number 4 in the Town of Lloyd. As the Supervisor of the Town of Lloyd, I'm here to voice my strong support of this project and express my appreciation to the county legislature and to the county for giving this opportunity of connecting our Phase 3 to Phase 4 to go out to New Paltz. I'd like to recognize Legislator Litz and Mayo, who have supported this project from the beginning, and thank you for that. The Town of Lloyd we've built many partnerships since I took office 4.5 years ago. One of those partnerships is with the walkway over the Hudson, Scenic Hudson, City of Poughkeepsie, where I formerly was a detective and worked with Mayor Rob Rollison and Mayor Tyzik. We have gathered these partnerships where we're going to take this rail trail from over in Dutchess County, through our fabulous county, out to New Paltz, as far as we can take this trail to go. Because, as we all know, economic development comes from these trails. It's very difficult to draw in commercial business, not only to our county, but into our state. And on a regular basis, if you drive through the Town of Lloyd, you'll see me walking through the village. And it's amazing on a Saturday or Sunday to see the amount of people, or even during the week. We have some great cafes in the village where I see these bikes parked out front. We actually had to put up new bike racks for these folks. And I stop and I talk to them. And I want to know, where are you coming from? How'd you find us? It's amazing. They come from Connecticut. They come from Virginia. They come from Maryland. I mean, it's just incredible where we are drawing people into our community, and they are spending dollars. So, again, I want to give our endorsement on behalf of the Town of Lloyd for Phase 4 and express my appreciation for everything and the hard work that you folks do. And I will say it's going to hurt just a bit, but I want to congratulate Legislator Gerantine and the Marlboro Dukes on their baseball and softball state championship. Thank you very much.
Diana Longhitano.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I've never done this before. I have left a letter with Chris White that will be read into your minutes for this meeting. I just want to say I am a landowner in the Town of Lloyd and have been for quite a long time. The project that you're doing, I hope, will be a great success. However, I have a piece of property that's rather unique, and I don't want it to disturb my actual livelihood. So I hope that when you read my comments, you'll take it all into consideration, and thank you for the time this evening.
Kelly Myers.
Thanks for the opportunity to comment on this tonight. I have been working with the Save the Rails group, and as a member of that group, I just wanted to say that I think this project is a good project. And the reason I want to say that is because you're not ripping up any active railway. And I think it's a real opportunity to connect the walkway over the Hudson with the village of New Paltz. That's a wonderful thing. So great project. Thanks.
Ken Anello.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. Again, I am with the Save the Rails group with Kelly, and I agree with what she says. And also, we are extremely happy that the county is abiding by the environmental impact studies in the construction of this trail, and that we're very happy that this will go forward to connect these trails together. Thank you.
Elizabeth Hart.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Waldstein Hart. I'm Executive Director of the Walkway Over the Hudson. And I would like to first of all thank you for your public service. A lot of people complain about government, and many people aren't willing to do what you're doing. So I want to thank you for that. I think this acquisition and subsequent addition of the 1.3 miles is going to give New York one of the premier hiking, biking, walking trails in the country. And as Mr. Hansett, Supervisor Hansett and former Supervisor Costantino pointed out, we will now join a growing number of states throughout the country who are investing in rail trail development. Why are we investing in rail trail development? We want to invest in it because there are economic benefits. Study after study shows that economic impact is positive in both communities, in residential home values, and to local businesses. Secondly, we're contributing to the health and wellness of our population. Ulster County has a big drive to keep people healthy. These are free and accessible recreational assets for us and for our community. 3, it is our quality of life that's improved, not just for visitors, but for us who live in the Hudson Valley. And 4, it's our ability to attract tourists from much further away. As Ray said, the longer the trail, the farther people will come. As you know, the Walkway Over the Hudson has about 500,000 people a year. We do a lot of surveys. We find out where they're coming from, and a full 25% of those people are from far away. They're looking for trails. They're coming off Metro North with their bicycles. They love the idea of the Catskills to Connecticut connection. And once we have another piece of that, we really become competitive in the country in attracting the sort of people that want to live here, that want to invest in here, and want to spend money here. We recently partnered with the Hudson Valley Rail Trail and Dutchess County Rail Trail and won the distinction of being awarded to the Rail Trail Hall of Fame. There were 5 trails around the country, and we won. So it's a big deal that we competed with trails all over the country, and we were one of the best ones. So, and thanks to Chris White for supporting that as well. So thank you for your leadership. Ulster County is doing a great job taking advantage of the walkway, partnering with us on so many projects. We recommend, and on part of the Walkway Over the Hudson, I'll enter this into the record, and thank you for your positive vote.
Kevin Smith. And lastly, Peggy Kramer. You don't want to talk on this? Okay.
In this public hearing? We have two public hearings prior to the regular meeting this evening. So there's going to be public comment on this public hearing, public comment on the next one, and then public comment for the meeting. It's entirely up to you.
Hi, Frank Nazaro. I'm back again. The reason I'm here is to remind you a couple of things. I'm glad I have 3 minutes. Amazing. The railroad property from Kingston to the county line in Bel Air happens to be the most valuable piece of real estate, and the part that's most valuable.
Sir, your comments are not about the Hudson Valley Rail Trail Phase 4, which is the purpose for this public hearing. If you'd like to talk about the U&D corridor, the proper time would be right prior to the legislative meeting at public comment.
Okay, that's why I asked. In any event, I can come back and talk then. When would that be? Okay. Well, I'm just saying, I don't agree with spending public money, since we keep thinking that grants, this particular project sounds good, but any public money we use on it is borrowed money, since our deficit from the federal government is already in the trillions of dollars, and we can't afford the interest on that. I can give you details which go back to the beginning of the country. But at the moment, when you think you're getting a grant, it's really just borrowed money from Social Security and other funds that we're spending, since we can't afford, with our federal taxes paid, to service the interest on the existing debt. So don't think for a minute that you're not hurting the taxpayers all over the nation, including Ulster County. So I don't approve of spending public money. We can look for private sources of funding. We should do that all the time. I'll come back and talk about the rest later.
There are no other speakers. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Legislator Litz, seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tonight's second public hearing is on the addition of lands to the agricultural districts as required under Article 25AA of the Agriculture and Markets Law, and there are no speakers signed up for that hearing.
Motion to close. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We have one very special birthday this month, and she asked me to make sure that I tell everybody about it. And that would be our wonderful clerk, Victoria Fabella, who's celebrating her 29th birthday, I think. At this time, I will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the previous minutes. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. As always, there are various communications on file. At this point, I believe I've spoken to both leaders. I'll entertain a motion to take the resolution on family court out of order. We have two very distinguished guests in the chamber tonight, and I want to make sure we can get them on the road. They've got to get back to Albany. We've got Judge Thomas Breslin, who's the Chief Administrative Judge for the 3rd Judicial District, and our very own Judge Karen Peters, who serves as the Presiding Justice of the Appellate Division of the Supreme Court for the 3rd Judicial Department.
So I'll make that motion, Resolution 287.
Seconded by Legislator Rodriguez.
Resolution 287, selecting a new location for Ulster County Family Court and authorizing a ballot proposition on said matter, Department of Public Works.
We're a short yes.
I think Legislator Donaldson would like to speak.
Yeah, that's good.
Legislator Donaldson.
This is on moving the family court to the BRC. The city of Kingston is basically a walkable city. It has sidewalks, and that's the purpose of a walkable city, of course, is to assure that the services are all within that walking distance. And that's what it does. And it is the county seat. And as the county seat, that's why we're required to do this, in order to move it out of the county seat, because the purpose of having it in the county seat is where it's walkable and where all the other services are. And I applaud those that found a home for the Sione building that's going to be a hotel, because I would support that 100%. In reality, though, it was never looked at originally. Neither was the Freeman building, but neither was a number of other areas. It seemed to me the study was done to assure that the BRC was chosen. And I feel that what's going to happen is the businesses that will be hurt in the uptown area will not be, you will not see that same benefit showing up in the town of Ulster. Because the town of Ulster is not a walkable town. It's not meant for that. And I respect what they do, and they have, they are a business hub. So as a result, what ends up happening is they'll drive in, they park their car, they go to the court, and they drive home. It's totally different. You're not going to be able to drive in, walk over to DMV or various other aspects, coming real property. You're not going to be able to do that. So to me, this is the wrong move, and I have to vote no.
Legislator Berkey.
Analysis was presented, and I asked several questions about the analysis, but also asked for several details. I haven't received them yet, and I'd like to make sure that if this does pass, and I assume that it will, that we will receive that information in due time. First of all, the impact on businesses in Kingston, given the number of individuals who are visiting the court, the number of professionals working in the court, I would like to know what the benefits to the uptown businesses are right now and the proportion of business activity that would be foregone as a result. I think that we can probably calculate a great deal of that. There are plenty of economic analysis models we can use. The second thing is transportation. Uptown Kingston is a transportation hub, a public transportation hub. Many families who use the family court rely on public transportation, as do many other people. By moving it out of the center of Kingston, whether we reroute the buses or not, we're extending potentially the time in their day that it will take to visit the family court, and that may mean several visits. That is something that we need to look at and understand because it will impact these working families' lives. So I hope that we can get the information that I'm asking for, and I did ask for others, and I will forward that information to the appropriate people who are doing the study. Thank you.
Legislator Parity, then Legislator Briggs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Legislator Donaldson must have. It's not working. I'll just speak here. No, you can't. There we go. Another one. All right. Thank you. First of all, folks, the process from start to where we are now was absolutely flawed. The pin was in the dartboard in the location that you're going to that we're moving forward to before it started. But even more seriously, there were buildings that were not even considered, like this building. The Freeman building was dismissed. The old parking garage was not even considered. New construction was dismissed out of hand. Now, if I may, Mr. Chairman, just take an extra minute, because economic development is so important to us. We just heard about it. Investing our own money is pretty important. Now, if I might mention, let's say we go to talk to Mr. Gates about bringing his millions to Ulster County and investing in Ulster County, where the river meets the mountains and the mountains meet the sky. We got good slogans going on. And Mr. Gates says, well, what do you invest in? Do you invest in infrastructure, water and sewage in your communities? Oh, no, we don't do that. What about housing for the workfare housing? Or in particular, those that can't afford even workfare housing outside of a few communities? Oh, no, we don't do that. We want wealthier middle-class people living around here. Well, what about schools? Well, we have a community college. We haven't increased our investment in that community college in 6 or 7 years. We just raised the tuition. So Mr. Gates says, well, what have you invested your money in? Well, we built a new jail, and there's no more people in that facility today than there were in 1998 when it was built. The one good thing about it is our sheriff has the nicest office in New York State. I think sometimes you have to consider building new, investing in your community. I've subsequently found out that new construction takes into, they sort of appropriate 200 square feet per person. When this place was built, it was over 300 square feet per person. So I'm very disappointed that Ulster County never even considered investing in a facility, working with the city of Kingston. There's real money to be had by sharing services and merging. Our government like it, but we don't agree with it. So I know where we're going, but I just can't support the process. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Legislator Briggs.
Hold on a minute. Yes, sir. My mic's installed.
It's amazing that it wasn't that long ago that folks from Kingston, all they did is complain about all the tax-exempt properties in Kingston, and now we're saying, oh, hey, build us a tax-exempt, another property here in Kingston. So I'm a little concerned about that. Also, if you look at where Family Court is now, it's just not a hop, skip, and a jump from downtown Kingston. And if you're walking to DMV, you got better legs than I got. So how about the people in the town of Ulster? Maybe those restaurants and the diners and Dunkin' Donuts, and maybe they'll make a couple of dollars. Let's spread it out. We talk about economic development, and it seems like all too often when we don't get our way, when the numbers don't work the way we want them to, and I think you could look at Bel Air. That's a prime example. When things don't work the way we want, it was flawed. But if it works the way we want, it was the greatest process ever. So, I think we need to step back and kind of reconsider where we're coming from. Not everything is a conspiracy, and we should learn that.
Legislator Gerantine.
Hear me? Yes. This is a very tough call here. This legislative body was brought forth by the judges back in the latter part of 2015. They came to this meeting hall, actually said that, we've been dragging our feet, making a decision. The legislative body at that time got actively involved with this process. I think since that time to now, we have done dramatic things to come up with a decision where we'd like to put this. I totally understand, Dave, what you're saying about the city of Kingston, but personally, I walked through that building. That building needs to be retrofitted. It does not meet the needs of what the court is asking us to do right now. There's not enough space to provide there to have the necessity of the space that they need for the third family court judge there. We have it there now, but there's other things that the court system is recommending or mandatory that we have to incorporate into that building. That building, in my opinion, and I have a little knowledge regarding construction, is not the most favorable place. It needs a lot of structural needs in various type. It does not meet the needs of what the court is asking us to do. We have our own building, which is, we can utilize about 28,000 square feet. It is not out of the realm of the transportation system. Actually, there's more public transportation going out to the BRC than to the family court right now. And we can adjust that to even have even more buses go out to that way. Like I said, we looked at different buildings. This is going to be a cost savings in the long run for Ulster County. And there again, we're going to have a building that's going to be new. It's going to be able to expand if it's needed in the future. And in saying all that, I think we have to educate our public to tell them why this is the right thing to do. Because in the long run, the taxpayers of Ulster County will be served better by being out by the BRC. So I hope everyone would support it.
Legislator Donaldson for a second time. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. Legislator Allen, I guess, had his hand up first. Legislator Donaldson, you'll have to wait until he finishes.
I want to concur with the statements that my colleague, Legislator Gerantine, said. We have a fiscal responsibility in this county. This is an unfunded state mandate with the third family court judge added. So that essentially means that the state is requiring us to do it, but they're not going to give us any funds to pay for it. So this comes out of taxpayer money, Ulster County. The projected savings of this location in the town of Ulster it exceeds $10 million. So that's a great cost. I believe it was $10,721,000 for bringing it into the mental health facility in Golden Hill Complex. So I think this is something that the voters need to be aware of when it comes up on public referendum. Turn over your ballot in November onto page 2, and please vote yes on this to save the taxpayers of Ulster County so we can spend those money on other services, take the burden off the taxpayers. Thank you, Chairman.
Legislator Lauren.
Yeah, I'm going to be brief on this. Family court is in my district right now. It's been in my district. I mean, I've represented the city for many years. And I've sat on the committees. I've talked to different people. The bottom line is this is the most cost-efficient way of moving family court. For years, we have discussed it, we have talked about it, and now we're finally doing something about it. They can't stay where they're at. The time has come, we have to make a decision. I don't want to look at an antiquated building like some of the ones that have been shown and spend millions of dollars for no reason whatsoever other than to do it. We still have surrogate court uptown. We have Supreme Court uptown. I don't see this as being having any major effects on the uptown area. As far as transportation, we have buses that will be going out to the BRC. It is the most efficient way to make this happen. We already own the building. The construction cost will be kept to a minimum. For us not to do this would be foolish. So, I mean, I understand what Legislator Donaldson, Legislator Parity are talking about. This has been going on for years. And the legislature, for whatever reason, never made a decision to make a move. So now all of a sudden we start to make a move, and now people have a problem with it. I hope that people will support this, and I'll let it go at that.
Legislator Belfilio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a serious endeavor. We're not doing this for economic development of any town. This is family court. People aren't going to family court and strolling down the block and having lunch or going out and seeing a show or strolling in the park. They're going to family court because basically our society has gotten so out of hand that we need another family court judge. It's a serious, serious problem, and we need a serious solution. We already own the building. I don't believe that the economic benefit, except for the employees at the family court facility that would patronize the restaurants and stores or whatever else that's over there, I think this is the best solution, and I think we just got to keep our eye on the ball. This is not for economic development. It's for the health and welfare of our children.
You're up, Legislator Donaldson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There you go.
All right, maybe I should dance. Well, no, it's not about economic development. You are correct. It is really about serving the client, and that's the purpose of it. That's the purpose of bringing it into a walkable community. That's the purpose why it is always, family court is always housed in the county seat. That's the purpose of it. And I'm sorry that Legislator Briggs can't walk 4 blocks, but I don't know. Maybe wear a pair of sneakers next time you come up. It's a 4-block walk from there to DMV. And then, of course, it's much shorter if you want to go from the other side, but to a number of other services. So this, again, it's not about economic development. You're correct. It's about the client. So I will be a no, and that's fine, and move on.
Legislator Briggs.
I just want to eat my sneakers.
Who's on first?
Just as a reminder that family court serves all of the people of Ulster County, not just the people that live in Kingston and want to walk there. So if I go there from Ellenville, I have a parking lot, and I can park there, and I don't have to drive around Kingston looking for a spot to park. So yes, maybe it's a slight inconvenience for some of those folks that may be out of Kingston, but for the rest of the county, I think it's a lot easier to park down there and have access to family court. So let's it's not just about Kingston, Dave. It's about all 183,000 of us.
On the resolution.
Again, we're a short yes. We're a short yes with the following noes. Legislator Donaldson, Legislator Berkey, Legislator John Parody, and Legislator Green.
The resolution is adopted 18-4.
At this time, I would like to call up Legislator Kevin Roberts from District Number 12 for our evening's theme this evening. And I would like to both apologize to Brennan for going on a little bit long here, but to congratulate you on seeing government at work. And Kevin, if you'd like to call up your guests.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a wonderful speech planned. What a wonderful mother Tori is, what a great father Brian is, and what a great kid Brennan is. But I forgot it with all the back and forth with the family court. Why don't you guys come on up and tell your story? Brennan suffers from spinal kyphosis, and a couple of months ago I noticed Tori, who's been a friend of mine for a couple of years. You know, my daughter's sick with a genetic disease, and Tori's always the first one to send me a note and ask how she's doing and saying a prayer for her, and I do appreciate that. And this is my chance to return the favor for you guys. So Tori, why don't you step up and tell your story and tell us about kyphosis as only a mother can.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Kevin. My name is Tori Lau. It's an honor to come here tonight and be able to speak to all of you about my son Brennan and what we call his journey. Just some background. Due to my own medical history, my husband Brian and I had decided to build our family through the process of adoption, and our hearts were led to Guatemala. Brennan and his sister Maya were both born in 2007 and came home with us in March of 2008. Maya was 9 months old and Brennan was 7.5 months old. We eagerly showed them off like most excited parents do with their newborns. But as much joy and love we had in our hearts for them, we had some growing concerns that something was amiss. From the very beginning, we noticed that Brennan displayed some anxiety and some sensory issues. We learned quickly what worked for him and what didn't to help him cope in his physical environment. But with regards to his own physicality, that's where we struggled. From infancy, Brennan's legs were bowed while his feet turned in. He was delayed in his developmental milestones, such as sitting, crawling, and walking. And whenever we would question it, we were told, just relax, give him some time to adapt and transition to his new environment. It'll be okay. We were given advice on certain exercises to do at home with him and tricks to do with his shoes to put on the opposite feet. We several times questioned the possibility of Brennan having cerebral palsy, and we're just kind of brushed off, told relax. Over time, Brennan caught up, but it was still clear that his physical development was different. He dragged one foot and had a shorter stride. He struggled with running, often tripping over himself. He couldn't climb a tree like the other kids. He couldn't hang on the monkey bars, and he could not balance on a bike. This affected his socialization. Once kindergarten came, more concerns arose, and we noticed that he began slouching a lot and that there was a curve forming in his upper back. By the time that first grade came, Brennan was really starting to suffer. He was starting to regress and backslide. He no longer wanted to engage in physical activity, and he became very introverted. We reached out to the school for help with testing and evaluations and were denied, telling us that the laws changed and that they no longer had to comply with the parents' request for help. That refusal is what I call the beginning of Brennan's journey. We pulled him out of public school and enrolled him in a small private school where we saw some positive changes. We began scheduling for private medical and psychological testing and evaluations while still forcing the district's hand to comply with state and federal regulations that we knew were still in existence. Eventually, the district cooperated, and Brennan began to receive services for physical and occupational therapy for, at that point, what they just considered him to be hypotonic, which was meaning weak from the waist up. Brennan has seen a pediatric neurologist, a psychologist, social workers, pediatric orthopedic surgeons, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and orthotists. He has undergone psychological and psychiatric testing, evaluations for autism spectrum disorders, because that's always the easy go-to diagnosis. He went through an EEG to test for seizures that luckily he did not have. He underwent MRIs looking for tumors that could possibly be causing some of the problems, and again, luckily, did not have, and several x-rays of his back and spine, all by the age of 8. In the end, Brennan was in fact diagnosed with cerebral palsy, spastic diplegia version, and kyphosis at the age of 8. CP is usually caused by a stroke in utero or due to complications during labor and delivery. I didn't give birth to him, so I can't say what happened. Kyphosis, which is not a lot known or as well known, has 3 possible origins. The first, an unknown origin. Who knows? The second, a birth defect of the spinal cord, or the third, due to a neuromuscular disorder such as cerebral palsy. CP creates a lot of challenges and difficulties, but it is not a death sentence. We reassured Brennan that CP may be a diagnosable disability, but that doesn't mean that he is broken. It just means that we have to find a different way sometimes to do certain things. The diagnosis of kyphosis, on the other hand, scared us and was cause for immediate intervention. Brennan's spinal curve is 78 degrees. Usually at 80 degrees, you have no choice but to have surgery. Surgical intervention is often necessary, but due to his age and growth rate, he would be facing surgery 1 to 2 times a year until the age of 18, if not beyond. Spinal surgery, as I know firsthand, is not easy. And to put that on a child that young, that often, would be beyond traumatic and detrimental. However, we were told that if the curve continued to progress, it would begin to crush his esophagus, his diaphragm, and his lungs. He would eventually go into respiratory arrest with a possible fatal outcome. Imagine hearing that. We couldn't bear the thought of that and asked about back bracing as at least a first step. Our first orthopedic surgeon, who didn't have the most patience, attempted 2 different braces with Brennan, and there was no success. We questioned the braces that she was recommending and using, and we were told that we were not the ones that went to medical school and let her do her job. She eventually left the practice and moved to another hospital out of state, leaving us to have to find a new pediatric orthosurgeon who specializes in kyphosis and CP. We were very lucky, and we found an amazing doctor down in Fishkill. He prescribed a different brace that is very specifically designed for children with kyphosis. And in the short amount of time that Brennan's been using it, he has improved tremendously. But the brace isn't the only thing that the surgeon recommended. He said we need to get him physically active. We need to get him up and moving. Good luck. We've been trying. But we found some motivation. And in the last few months, Brennan has started a regimen where he continued to receive physical therapy and occupational therapy in school. He signed up for the Boy Scouts. He began working with a personal trainer at a gym. There's only one gym in the area that would let a child come in, and he's been amazing with him. He began swim lessons at the YMCA. He began ballet classes, and very fun, he began therapeutic horseback riding lessons. Again, in just the past few months. Brennan has begun to lose weight. He's improved his posture tremendously. He's developed muscle tone that was non-existent. And recently, last weekend, he performed in his first ballet recital. And we're told this week that because of how hard he's been working, he'll soon be graduating from therapeutic horseback riding lessons to typical lessons. His self-esteem and confidence has gone through the roof. Kyphosis is a very scary diagnosis. It's very scary to watch your child struggle. It's terrible to be told no It's terrible to be told that your child will never be able to do something or accomplish something or participate in an activity because of a disability. So our message to Brennan and to everyone is this: always follow your gut instincts, never accept no for an answer, and never give up. I tell Brennan all the time, especially when he's feeling low, that he is absolutely perfect. In our beliefs, we believe that he was created in God's perfect image and that he is exactly the way that he is supposed to be. Our path is just a little different to get where we need to go.
Thank you, Tori. When I asked you to come up and speak, you were like, I don't know what to say. What am I going to say? You did great. Thank you very much. And Brennan's a trooper, and we're proud of you here. Jim, do you got something to say before I give up the pride?
Kevin, I do. Brennan, Tori, your words were they're beautiful, and they're so inspiring. Kevin, Legislator Roberts is going to give you a pride of Ulster County, but we have an additional award, and I just like to read this. Brennan Lau faces many challenges on a daily basis that other people will never know and understand. He is a remarkable young man with great promise and dedication that works hard and does his best, even when he's tired and discouraged. Brennan demonstrates the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. He is an example that all of us face challenges and need to find the courage to move past them. I am reminded of the words of Mahatma Gandhi: strength does not come from physical capacity, it comes from indelible will. Brennan, on behalf of the Ulster County Legislature, I am proud to present you with this small token of our admiration and declare Brennan Lau as a hero of Ulster County. And if you look at this man right here, I don't have mine on tonight, many don't, but believe me, you are our hero.
Well said, Jim. Well said. And I'm going to present this pride of Ulster County to the entire Lowell family. I wish I could have all my colleagues up here to help me out with this, but this is in recognition of your strength and courage and perseverance despite overwhelmingly difficult circumstances. We recognize the challenge that children and families touched by cerebral palsy and other neurological conditions, including kyphosis. Your strength and faith and family is admirable and an inspiration to all of us here in Ulster County. You're welcome.
At this point in the agenda tonight, I was planning to be able to grant privilege of the floor to our comptroller, Elliot Auerbach, but his appearance tonight was beat out by becoming a grandfather. So at this time, I'm pleased to grant privilege of the floor to our Deputy Comptroller, Evan Gallo, to join District 1 Legislator Mary Warrow and District 6 Legislator Dave Donaldson, Chair and Deputy Chair of the Legislative Programs and Community Services Committee, as we join the Comptroller's Office to recognize this year's recipients of the Recognizing Success Award. The Comptroller's program each year acknowledges area seniors who have been selected by their respective schools and have demonstrated a propensity for innovation and achievement. Evan, all you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. To your likely disappointment, no, I am not Ulster County Controller Elliot Auerbach. I am actually tonight's third choice to speak, Deputy Controller Evan Gallo. As was said, this morning Elliot had to make his way to Philadelphia, where his daughter Kim just delivered the family's newest addition, Miss Julia Rose Michaels. He apologizes for not being able to attend and asked me to offer his remarks in his stead. On a personal note, I'm sorry that this is admittedly my first chance to meet tonight's honorees, but as I was reviewing your bios, much like Elliot, I was absolutely blown away by the collection of talent that we've grown here in Ulster County. So without further ado, and in my worst Elliot impression, here we go. I feel like a proud parent bragging about his kids, or a grandparent given today's circumstances. However, I did tell each student not to expect their first semester's tuition check from me. A huge debt of gratitude goes out to the underwriters and supporters of this year's program, and to the administrators, counselors, staff, and especially the parents of these students. Parents or guardians, if you're here tonight, please rise so you can be recognized as well. Anyone out there? Whatever you guys are feeding them, you should package it and make millions off of it. And finally, a grateful thank you to Chairman Ken Ronk and the Ulster County Legislature for sharing in this evening's event, as well as the opportunity to share with you what I regard as Ulster County's finest. 10 diverse students from 10 distinct high schools, all possessing one very similar trait, a propensity for innovation, risk, and achievement while advancing social, environmental, and academic change for the public good. You see, these are tough times in the world of education. The effort to homogenize a high school education will threaten the diversity and creativity of our leaders of tomorrow. What you will witness firsthand this evening is not a one-size-fits-all Common Core approach, but rather a unique common sense approach that has produced this legion of young leaders standing here before you as we recognize their successes. Please let me present our recipients here today, nominated by their respective schools, and I ask each to raise his or her hand to be honored after the individual names are announced. They all have taken the road less traveled and have left an indelible mark on their school, their community, and this county. I ask that you be kind enough to hold your applause until after we have introduced all of the students. Ellenville High School, Gan Lin, you here? Not tonight. An exceptional artist whose work brightens the halls of Ellenville High School and whose academic excellence propelled him to become the salutatorian of his class. Gan's journey from China to the United States began at the age of 9 as a third grader who was unable to speak English and was challenged by a hearing impairment. His struggles to overcome those obstacles were built on his belief that anything is possible. He will be attending Rochester Institute of Technology to learn how to develop mobile applications. Highland High School, Kirti Shenoy. Kirti's enthusiasm, energy, and involvement underscore the reason why she is our first high school junior to receive this recognition. Along with a multitude of community service organizations she belongs to, Kirti helps train dogs for guiding eyes for the blind and uses her proficiency in sign language to help bilingual families communicate. Prior to her high school graduation next year, Kirti will receive her associate's degree from SUNY Ulster. Kingston High School, Adriana Alashkar. Adriana has gained both a respect and appreciation from the hundreds of members of the KHS class of 2016 by being elected their class president 4 years in a row. Along with her numerous academic honors, Adriana has excelled on the soccer field and has been named as a Section 9 All-Star. She will be taking her leadership skills along with her kind, caring, and outgoing personality to Colgate University this fall. Marlborough High School, Gina Marticello. Hello. Volleyball captain, jazz band musician, National and Spanish Honor Society member, volunteer at the ASPCA, and a winner in the Fleet Reserve Association essay contest for 3 years in a row, with her most recent winning entry entitled, What the United States Flag Stands For, all while maintaining a GPA of not 99 or 100, but 101.56%. Gina will be attending Fordham University, where she'll be studying business administration. New Paltz High School, Patrick Barusa. Patrick is all about community service. He volunteered over the summer with the Ulster County Fairgrounds. He gives music lessons to children throughout the Make Joyful Voice music program. He has tutored students during his entire high school. He has painted churches in the city and enjoyed a host of other humanitarian-centered endeavors. Patrick will bring his excellent GPA and civic-minded approach to Columbia University to study chemical engineering. Aniora High, Sarah Rudd. Sarah's not here. An avid runner, Sarah is the captain of both the varsity cross country and the varsity track teams. Sarah was instrumental in organizing her community in the aftermath of Hurricane Irene. She pitched in to help her neighbors clean up, and she continues to host a yearly food drive along with an annual blood drive. Sarah will be attending Ithaca College in the fall and majoring in physical therapy. She's enrolling in a 6-year physical therapy program and is already planning on getting her PhD. Roundup Valley High School, Sean Kuntz. Sean, you here? Sean is both the valedictorian and president of his class. He is also a member of National Honor Society, president of the Computer Club, chairman of blood drives, captain of the math team, and even has time to play some lacrosse. Sean was selected as one of 300 semifinalists at the Intel Science Talent Search. Sean created a hands-free mouse project using eye tracking technology, enabling people with spinal cord, nerve, or muscular injuries to get on the internet and perform the functions of a mouse without using their hands. Sean will be attending Stanford University in the fall and is working on having his invention patented. Saugerties High School, Kellyanne Averill. Kellyanne is the president of Key Club. In this role, she has sold Yuta bands, bracelets handmade from leather and coconut by Guatemalan natives and their children. The sales of these bracelets have allowed 2 children in Guatemala to attend school. Kellyanne has also fundraised $5,000 in the past 2 years to enhance the Saugerties Youth Backpack Program, which provides weekend meals to over 75 households in the school district. She will be attending St. Thomas Aquinas College on Division II basketball scholarship. Walk Hill Senior High School, Gus Fermato. Gus is class valedictorian, successful wrestler, and is a part of the New Visions program. Presently, through his program, he is working to make a device that removes gloves from medical providers. Additionally, Gus trained his dog to be a certified therapy dog for hospitals and nursing homes. Gus will be attending SUNY Geseo and studying biophysics. Woodstock Day School, Jonah Martindale. Last but not least, Jonah is a founding member of Kushi Hana Woodstock. Is that right? Pretty much. Kushi Hana empowers vulnerable people with solutions that allow them to rise above their poverty. As a leader of this group, Jonah has organized 2 trips to India and is slated for a 3rd in August. To date, the group has sponsored 20 local students for service trips in only 3 years. Jonah said that traveling to India allowed him to leave his bubble and adjust his own core principles as a result. Jonah will be attending Antioch College in the fall. These students here are our greatest natural resources. They inspire us as a community, and it's up to each and every one of us to ensure that they have something, some place, and some opportunity worth coming back to. Let's hope that they return to Ulster County to reside and work among us. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the extraordinary Recognizing Success Class of 2016.
My pleasure to present Kellyanne Averill with her award. Kellyanne lives in my district, and I know a lot about the projects and stuff you've done, and your backpack project wasn't mentioned, but congratulations.
City of Kingston, Kingston City Schools, Adriana Alaska.
And it's also my pleasure to present Gina Martutello
Woodstock Day School, Jonah Martinell. I'd like to go on the next trip with you.
And Gus Romardo.
Ellenville High School, Ganyan, Lynn. Is Ganyan? No.
And Sean Kahn. Did I say that wrong? He's not here either.
Highland High School, Curtis Shenoy.
So, thank you, David, seriously. Patrick Veruza. Now, I have known Patricio for many, many, many years. And when I first met him, he's about yay tall? I don't know, is that about right? Okay. I'm just so hugely proud of you. Please.
What makes it so remarkable is these young adults, maybe about 18 years old or somewhere around that aspect, and what they have accomplished already is amazing. And it gives us all a hope. We all know that maybe tomorrow will be better than today. So thank you. Thank you for giving us that hope.
I know. It wouldn't be that bad. I know. So as soon as I walk out of here, I forget. Everybody squeeze in more now. Come on, Dave, get in there. There you go.
Get up there in the picture.
Heck, do you want to get up there on the edge? All right. One more. Everybody say cheese. That was really weak, but
Crunch.
Most we need is cast.
No, there's no mark. Okay.
And I really did feel like it was fixed.
That's okay.
It'll be okay. You know, and I hope it'll be a very green building.
I'm going to give just a moment for the din to die down, and then we'll move on to our next presentation.
I believe that the numbers were exaggerated to assure the outcome, and I can't shake that belief. Yeah, that's between Jennifer and Dave. It's been bothering me.
Hugh.
It's good that you didn't write
With that, everything's quiet again. At this time, I will. I'm just waiting for you to be done, Hugh. All right. At this time, I'd like to call upon Legislator Carl Belfiglio from District 8 to introduce Cheryl DiPaolo, Program Director for the Ulster Prevention Council.
Thank you all. As you know, Ulster Prevention Council is a necessary program in Ulster County. But maybe you didn't know a few things, which Cheryl and her staff will tell you because she's more versed at it. But what I want to tell you is that Ulster Prevention Council was formed in 2007, and it was called the Ulster County Substance Abuse Prevention Board, or SAP. It was supported by the Ulster County Legislature, who petitioned the New York State Office on Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Services for their support and ongoing funding for this initiative. The goals of this proposal were clear and based on data, as well as the observation of many close enough to the problem of substance abuse and use. Thoughtful planning, the information of a particularly accomplished board representing key community sectors and continued successes in meeting well-defined performance measures, UPC has systematically built a prevention infrastructure across the county. In September 2012 and again in January 2015, UPC received additional OASIS funding to increase community capacity, to address local needs, and to expand provision of evidence-based services. UPC launched 2 community coalitions and initiatives, prevention strategies that are proven to produce change at the population level. So I'd like to introduce the program director, Cheryl DiPaolo, and also Juanita Hotchkiss, and they're going to tell you about Ulster Prevention Council and about the Youth Media Awards.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. As you know, I'm sure we're all aware of the current opiate overdose epidemic, and we're kind of on the front line in Ulster County in addressing that. Heroin is very cheap right now. People are getting addicted to prescription drugs, moving to heroin, and so we have a crisis. And I wanted to thank you for supporting Ulster Prevention Council. We are on the front lines in many ways. We're forward-thinking and getting on top of the crisis. So our biggest resource that you give us is our ability to work with these youth. This is the best use of our time and funding. And I'm going to introduce Juanita Hotchkiss, our community prevention specialist, who works with the youth, and her daughter Ava, who's going to hand out the awards.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to keep this really brief, but I wanted to first give you a little background about this media contest. We run this media contest annually, every single year. It's open to all students across Ulster County, and it is judged by an independent board of people. And this year we had peers also were a part of the judging panel. So it was just really exciting, and the kids really, and teens really came out with some innovative ways to get the message of prevention across. So each year we choose a topic. This year's topic was heroin. And it's not only about raising awareness, but it was also about reducing stigma. And I'm really excited to get the kids, the students up here to get their awards. But I first wanted to recognize that all of the students that did win our media contest all came from Ellenville High School. And yes, so they all came from Ellenville High School, and their media teacher, Mr. Tim Luzeski. There we go. All right. He didn't want to help me, by the way. I asked him for help, and he said, no, I'm going to make you struggle through this. So he's here today with his students. So I don't know if, Tim, if you want to come up here. Yeah? Okay. So first, I would like to say we have three categories of winners. We have video, we have radio, and we have poster. So we give an award as well. We give a monetary award for each category, $250 for the video. The radio, PSA, it's $150, and the poster is $75. Okay, so first I'd like to bring up Dakota Depew. See, I'm not good at this. Dakota, please come on up. And His contest entry was a poster, and it was called Heroin Kills the Pain. And so, Ava, if you'd like him to give him our award. And next we have Morgan Smith and Bridget Franza. And their entry was a video. And the video was titled, I Bet They Will Notice This. And finally, we have a really great PSA, and it's the three students who developed this PSA unfortunately are not with us today. But the PSA, the title of the PSA is "Make the Right Choice," and those students are Gavin Rosario, Messiah Otario, and Dante Langley. And they made a fantastic radio PSA. So we were really excited about all of these different medias, and we're going to be presenting them on our social media. They'll be on our website, and they'll be distributed throughout Ulster County and beyond. So we're really excited about all of you not only receiving the awards from us, but receiving awards from the legislator's office here. So thank you very much, and I'm going to pass this along to somebody. Oh, Carl.
Well,
thank you.
Legislator Briggs, these are all exceptional youth from your district. So I'd like you to do that. That's right. I'd like you to do the honors. One of the things I'd like to tell you is I haven't been that involved this year with Ulster Prevention Council, and I'm sorry that I couldn't get a chance to judge these videos, but I did see them, and the clerk of the legislature sent them to me. Are we going to see them tonight? Okay, good. All right. So you're in for a real treat because he's a real professional.
Are you queuing that now, or?
Whatever, video or radio? Whatever you want.
I'll let that.
So first, we're going to play the video.
It's easy hiding my hair on habit from my parents. If I'm tired or don't eat, I'm just acting like a typical teen. I hide my stash in my room because I know that my parents trust me. They didn't notice the painkillers missing or the money from their wallets. But I bet they're gonna notice this.
Next, we're going to show our poster. Okay, it's right there in the middle. And then finally, our PSA, which was Gavin Rosario, Messiah Otario, and Dante Langley.
Teens are exposed to heroin every day. This message goes out to groups of all ages. Heroin could be the death of you. It'll stick in your system quicker than a tattoo. Teens are doing it like it's part of the taboo. You rule the day you begin to use. You start to prick, pop, snip. After your first use, you're falling off a cliff. If you have kids that's abusing, they're getting outlived. Teens are telling lies, they stopped all the thrift. The drug costs less than a pair of socks at a thrift shop. The color is bright and deceiving. Heroin couldn't care less about your well-being. This egg white drug is fleeing the scene. This vaccine is unseen. Not even 10 gallons of saline can save you at 18. Once you fuck, your future is unseen. Kids are doing it at 14. Being on heroin is like 8 cups of caffeine. Just stay clean, just stay keen. Don't be a dopamine fiend. It's all up to you. It's just a choice. Very few survive the overdose. Heroin will bulldoze your whole life. You'll die faster to this than a knife in your back. A couple of hits and you'll no longer be alive. And once you're gone, there's no getting you back. This message was brought to you by the Ulster Prevention Council and the students of Ellenville High School.
To say I'm proud of these young men and women would be too small a gesture. A couple of months ago, we had a bunch of kids from Ellenville here because of Stop Smoking. I think the kids in Ellenville get it. But even more importantly, what's important is, these aren't popular topics. It's not popular to go out and talk about not smoking or not doing drugs. It's not the cool thing. But when these types of things happen and when people win awards and when people are recognized, it makes it okay. And it turns the cycle around to a positive thing. And more than anything else, besides what they give to the young men and women that they go to school with, I don't think there's a parent or grandparent in this room that shouldn't pay attention to those videos, and it should tell us, ask questions, pay attention. Just because your child is the child you want them to be, that doesn't mean that they're the child that they are. And but I will say that I know your parents, and your father always said the dog never paid attention and never listened, so I don't understand that. But no, and I don't mean to make light, but what's important here is this is good stuff, and this sends a strong message. And I couldn't be any prouder than if you were my kids. And so thank you, because the lives you may have saved, you'll never know, and that's okay. But I think you can sleep well at night, and I sleep a little better just knowing that we've got young men and women like you, and the young men and women we recognized earlier here. And if the young men and women of our county are our future, I think our future is bright. So I'm proud of you, and congratulations. Ulster, Pride of Ulster County, to Dakota Depew in recognition of an outstanding prevention Heroin Kills the Pain poster, which will be utilized as part of the Ulster Prevention Council's community education campaign.
Can you blow up that poster?
Really? Yeah. Stand by. Yeah.
Morgan Smith in recognition of an outstanding prevention video, which will be utilized as part of the Ulster Prevention Council's community education campaign. And Bridget Franza in recognition of outstanding prevention video, which will be used as part of the Ulster Prevention Council's community education campaign, and all signed the 21st day of June by Kenneth J. Ronk, Jr., Chairman of Ulster County Legislature.
I can't walk 4 blocks. I know.
I'm not going to try to say Luke, because that's not me. You're not tricking me into trying to say it. Okay, all right. No, don't. Just move a half step closer to this beautiful lady next to you. There you go. Your hair would have looked like a beard on Mr. Briggs. I'm very proud of all of you. Take one with my cell phone so we can post it a little faster. Thank you.
Get out of here.
And that was our last presentation from this evening, and I've just sit here and I'm reminded by something that Chairman Parody used to say all the time, which was that the future really is bright here in Ulster County. And I think that's what tonight's presentations have really shown. We have such a a wealth of really spectacular young people in our county. So with that, we'll move into public comment. This evening, we'll be doing 2 minutes for public comment, and please be respectful of the time limit because we're going to shut public comment down at somewhere around an hour. So if the 2 minutes goes into 3 minutes, it's going to mean less people are going to be able to speak.
The first speaker, there are 14, is Meg Carey.
These are my concerns regarding the Ulster and Delaware Railroad corridor. Have the private property owners been contacted about the railroad easements and planned trail through their properties? What do they say? What's happening with rail banking? It appears to be so problematic that the county attorney would only talk about the issues with the legislature in executive session, shutting out the public. The Stone consultant was reluctant even to discuss rail banking in the UND corridor, saying it was a red-hot topic. Rail banking opens a Pandora's box, yet all we hear is trust us. The railroad right-of-way in perpetuity will be preserved. No, trust has to be earned. It's time to have open meetings with the legal expert on rail banking to hear the purpose, process, and pitfalls in the UND corridor. Since 1999, 12 miles of the UND Railroad from Shokan to Phoenicia have been designated as eligible for the Register of Historic Places. Why was this never brought up in the last 3 years? Why wasn't the FEMA correspondence of 2012, which speaks to the same issue, shared with the Railroad Advisory Committee, the UND Corridor Committee, Stone Consultants, and the public? Ulster County has received yet another time extension for the 7 projects approved by FEMA, this time until October 2018. Over $3 million has been approved for the restoration of the Boyceville Trestle. That's a lot of money to be left out of the conversation. Critical information has not been made available by the county. Planning decisions are going forward without all the relevant facts known by the public. Before any decisions are made to remove tracks, there must be complete disclosure, public discussion of the historical and legal complications that exist throughout the corridor.
Ken Anello.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm speaking for the businesses up in the western end of the corridor, up in Phoenicia. And last week we got word of this agreement that's in the works for the Catskill Mountain Railroad to begin operating again. We had been hoping that there would be a lease extension at the end of May. And as it is now, we understand that the railroad will operate in Kingston and that it will operate in Phoenicia, but not until the fall. And what we're concerned about and what we're very upset about up there, the businesses, is that there won't be any trains this summer. And we're going into our the next 2 months of tourist traffic up in that area. And the train brings in a lot of people. As I've said to you guys before, the last 2 months that I've been here, it's very important to our economy up there. And we feel as though you're letting us hang out to dry. We need that. That's tourist dollars that come into our community. That's money for the county. That's tax dollars for the county. 75% of the visitors for the railroad are out of the county, and they most likely come into Kingston and spend money here too. Now, you guys are all elected to your positions, and you represent districts. And if this happened in your district, I'm sure that you would be upset about it and would be pushing for this train to operate in your district. And you have an obligation to look out for the entire county. So we ask you to please go back to the table, work out some kind of agreement. 4th of July is 10 days away. That's a busy weekend for us up there. Nail something together. Put something together this week. The train could be running up in Phoenicia. All I got to do is turn the key. It's all there. It's ready to go. Move the cars into place. Get them to work. Get them to run. Bring the economy. Help us bring the economy back. For me, I can see that my business is down over the last 3 weeks, and also the restaurants and the other shops are as well. We need your help. We need you to look out for us. Please do something. Help us now. Thank you.
John Nelson.
Good evening. I represent the Archdiocese of New York, the Orthodox Archdiocese, and along with us comes about 400 million people, okay? We're not a ragtag group of people that have no clout and no power and no authority. We happen to be located in every corner of this world of ours, and we happen to have a lot of friends. I've been given the blessing from my Archbishop in New York to be of support to the people who are supporting the railroad. Why? Because it is a moral issue. Because it is an issue that was blessed by God and his many, many priests, Israeli rabbis, Protestant ministers, have bestowed hundreds and hundreds of blessings upon the former workers of the railroad, which made the reservoir possible in the first place. Without the railroad, there would have been no reservoir. Thank you all for spending so much time on this and with enduring patience. I know it's been a long and heated struggle, but we want to say that the time for working together is here. The time is now, and let's find a way not to start all over again. It's been suggested that we're going to start all over again. No, let's start fresh, and let's start with a spirit of unity, and not us and them, but all of us together. And let's find a way that we can bring a high-speed fiber optic network down the rail corridor, that we can bring other things into Ulster County and the counties beyond Ulster County, many of whom wish for this corridor to be opened to their areas, because it's going to bring a lot of success and prosperity and frankly, trust amongst our neighboring counties.
Time
and
is up, Father
railroads.
Tom. Thank you.
So in closing, please.
In closing, your time is up.
Thank you so much.
Kelly and Anna Myers.
Thank you. We're back. We want to talk about the railroad again. We've been hearing recently this week about, the plan moving forward, and hopefully an agreement has been made with Catskill Mountain Railroad, and the rhetoric this week is support the compromise. The corridor is 38 miles long, and what's happening is that the railroad is only getting 5 miles of it. That's it. That's not a compromise to me. This past week I went to the Ulster County Transportation Council public hearing on the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program. They proposed, I want to say 6-7 projects, and committed over $29 million in county money over 5 years. That's an enormous commitment to trails, which is wonderful. The one we had the public hearing on tonight, I thought was a great project. I really did. But we have an existing rail corridor, and we have a functioning railroad. And to take that away, I think, is wrong. The Catskill Mountain Railroad guys have worked so hard on this, and they've cleared the tracks and supported a corridor from Kingston that really can go all the way up to the reservoir currently. If we fix, a little bit of the bridges, we can go a lot further, even potentially connect eventually to Cooperstown, which would be incredible to see. To have a working rail on this side of the river, it would be an amazing achievement. So I think we can have rails and we can have trails. I think we can do them both together. Our group, the Save the Rails group, is not opposing any trails. We're proposing to share the corridor. So thank you.
The
subject is trains with a capital T. If you look around, you will see a bunch of people who have sad faces. Why? Because you are planning to rip up our tracks. I don't think it's fair. We have so many walking trails all around Ulster County. Why can't we just have this train longer? There's a lot of room on the other Hurley Rail Trail. Just use that one. You don't need a walking path because there are so many. Please reconsider. We want to have both rail and trail from Kingston to Highmount. Thank you.
Russ Bonk.
I always follow Kelly, and it's way down there. Well, good evening. I'd like to introduce our new group tonight. I'm introducing the UND Railway Revitalization Corp. We are a new group of approximately 18 to 20 members. We come from a diverse background. We come from all walks of life. And our mission statement is very simple. Our mission statement is to ensure that the Ulster and Delaware Railroad corridor remains intact for primarily rail operations, along with auxiliary uses. We will not settle for anything less than this, and we will continue to be the guardian of those rails. I'd like to read to you real quickly our vision statement. To revitalize the entire Ulster and Delaware Railroad corridor and all other related infrastructure intact from Kingston, New York westward to the Ulster-Delaware County line and beyond. Second, to reestablish a connection to the National Railroad network here in Kingston. To facilitate operations of trains linked to the National Railroad network for tourist line, light commuter rail, and transload local freight. To accept no foreclosing design obstruction. To retain this historic character of this railroad corridor, which has been intact since its inception in the mid-19th century, and to see that it is never ripped up, demolished, nor abandoned in any way, shape, or form. To assist in the economic growth of the communities along the corridor, and to support a concurrent adjacent multi-use trail. We look forward to working with county government, the trail consortiums, the DEP, local businesses, the Catskill Mountain Railroad, the Empire State Railway Museum, the Kingston Trolley Museum, and most importantly, we look forward to working with the public. For it is the public that this railroad corridor exists. It is the public that this railroad corridor was built. You all represent that public. The UND Railway Revitalization Corp will take the initiative that the two groups, Explore the Catskills and Save the Rails, have instituted, and will build on that.
Up, sir.
And that is to ensure that the railroad remains intact for that entire length of the corridor. Thank you very much.
Jeffrey Mizell.
Hi. If I were to ask you on an individual basis, given the climate-influenced political atmosphere of the last 10 or 20 years, in the future, what is the future of transportation? Is it going to be highways or trains? Interurban, between cities. Is it highways or trains? Are we going to build bigger highways or more railroads? That's my question. Now let's go across the river. If we were to ask the people in the communities along the Harlem line and the Hudson line and all of the commuter rail stops along those lines, if they would have been better off had they given up portions of that railroad for linear parks or rail trails, what would the answer be? You know, the future of travel is by rail, by and large. And the communities that have access to viable railroads are better situated to prosper in that environment. That's what we want for the Catskills. A world-class region, not just a world-class rail trail. That can be accomplished too. But a world-class region where people have access to the same benefits that the folks across the river do. Access to the city and access to other towns along the way. Those are the communities that are going to prosper, and that's what we want for this region. It goes beyond tourist trains. It goes beyond Thomas the Tank Engine. All of those things are great, and I support that. but it goes beyond that. And if I could impress on you folks one thing, that might doesn't make right. I know you folks have worked long and hard to achieve this compromise. And if I were you, if you're anything like me, I wouldn't want somebody telling me, all right, well, give it all up and start over. I get that. I get the need to defend your work. But by the same token, this is a perfect opportunity for you folks to align perfectly with both sides of an issue. This doesn't come along very often. We can do the rail, we can do the trail, and we don't need multi-million-dollar studies to tell us that. They didn't need that 150 years ago when they built the railroads. They just built the railroads, and they did it with willpower, and they did it with some personal money. They did it with some public funding. And however, my time's up? Yep. Is my time up? Well, thank you. Thank you. Please, restraint. Thank you.
Kathy Nolan.
Thank you. The Trails community has a commitment not to spend a lot of time on nights that you don't have resolutions on the agenda talking about the trail and rail issue. You have a lot of committees where that conversation can go on, and we appreciate that. When there are comments made, then we have to address them. And there's also so much good that is happening that we want to reinforce. The comments earlier about the Rails to Trails Hall of Fame designation for the Hudson Valley Rail Trails, want to say that not only was that a nomination from the Rails to Trails organization, which is a national organization, but the voting was an open national voting. Thousands of people participated, and the Hudson Valley Rail Trail took over 50% of those votes. And that's, thanks to all of the people in Ulster County and the Catskills region and the Hudson Valley. In terms of public monies and grants, those are monies that have gone out and need to come back to us. They come back to us from the federal government, from New York State, and from New York City. But they're also matched by private monies in the trail community. We've had private monies for planning studies, for conceptual design. Every stage along the way we expect to do that, and for maintenance. Not only private monies, but also volunteer efforts. Thousands of volunteers on all the trails throughout the county. In terms of spending public money for railroads, in Delaware County, they spent over $250,000 a year to maintain about 12 miles of track for their railroad. That's not construction costs, that's maintenance costs. So the amount of monies to bring back a railroad are really enormous. And until we have a railroad along the west side of the Hudson, they really don't make sense. Until we have communities that would be served by that, they don't make sense. And finally, the business owners that I've talked to out in Shandaken, where I live, are very excited about the possibility of rail explorers and that pedal bike that can be out there. That's a new, exciting opportunity. Thank you very much.
Philip Guerreri.
I'm a bicyclist. To be honest, I have not been on any of the trails. I don't know if they're paved or not. People could walk out to the reservoir knowing they can get a lift back on that train. And I don't care how much the walkways bring. They don't bring a third of what the tourist trains bring into the communities. Number two, in the Gladiator Arena, one team has one purpose: stop everything. Your contract is up, you didn't complete it, get the F out of here. The other team is the Democratic Republicans of 1936 Germany. And I think we know what the hell's going on. We need an economy. If you have problems with heroin, look to the Ritalin. That's the foundation of it. 10 years ago, I picked up prescription for my neighbor, And I listened to the pharmacist on a Friday speaking with a patient. I apologize. Unless you go to that doctor's home and bring a signed prescription, I can't fill it. Yes, I understand you've been on this for 7 years. I can't do it. And I asked him, tell me, what is it, 43% of what you prescribe is addicting? He got in my face, closer than the two of you. Make that 82%, and 1/3 of that, the patient has to be weaned before a new drug is introduced. Let's get an economy going. Let's get green commitments. What's wrong with cigarette smoking? The cancer chemicals that are put in it. Who's their protectorate?
Your time is
the
up, Phil.
GOP.
Geneva Turner.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for hearing me. I wanted to talk about the railroad as far as an environmental resource. I was told to do some research last time that I spoke, so I went ahead and did that, and NPR, as well as several other scientific journals that I read and studies about emissions from different sources, basically said that any train, steam or not, is going to have less emissions than people driving in their own cars. Now, that's not including carpooling, but not everyone can band together their schedules in order to drive everywhere in a carpool. So the train is really vital in that respect as far as connecting communities, especially people who don't have their own cars, who really need a form of public transportation. And if we rip up the tracks, then that excludes the possibility of someday having electric trains in our region. It wasn't long ago that I heard that the state flower of New York was a plastic bag. I really don't want that to be my state. I want us to go forward with green initiatives. And this is an investment that was made hundreds of years ago that is going to be very expensive to try and redo. So why would we rip that up? Let's keep that and the trail. It's possible to have the trail going alongside the rail and diverge where it can't, go directly alongside it. It can diverge for a bit and then come back. It's very simple. A lot of places do it. Pennsylvania, other places in New York do that. I don't see any good reason to rip up these tracks. This is a resource. Let's not throw it away. Thank you so much.
Joseph Wolf.
While I'm coming up, I'd just like to say thank you to the legislators that were involved in the previous presentation on the drug prevention. Thank you. Good evening. I'm here to speak on behalf of Saving the Rails on the entire UND corridor from CSX to the Delaware and Ulster connection at High Mount. First, I'd like to offer a sincere thank you to the legislators who were involved with allowing rail operations to continue running in the county. Thank you. I brought with me my Rails to Trails mug with me so you don't think I'm just some crazy train guy who doesn't like trails. I bought this in the late 80s in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, where my scout trip goes whitewater rafting each year. At the time, I thought it was a great idea to try to promote rail banking and to save the right-of-way for future train use and to prevent development in buildings from blocking trains from running again in the future. Unfortunately, and saddens me greatly, that the rail to trail movement seems to have gone from protecting the right-of-way for future rail use to shutting down existing rail lines and destroying them forever, all in the name of building a trail. I believe that those who are trying to build the rail trails here in Ulster have no desire to put in a trail at all, and it's simply their 30-year vision to remove the rails and to leave it at that while they hide behind rails to trails to disguise their true motives. Look at the trails that are already existing. 209, Delaware Avenue, Cotterskill, These are not finished. They're not paved. Some of them are ankle injuries waiting to happen. Even Delaware, where it says use at your own risk. Before you vote to remove any section of rail, please require them to complete the existing trails and show that they're serious about it. Please go after DEP to pave the south side. There's 3 miles of existing trail and miles more of access roads. Finish that. If DEP says no, well, guess what? You know what they're going to say about the north side. They're going to say no as well. And I believe that's their true motive, just to get rid of the rails.
Your time is up.
And not to actually complete a trail. Thank you for your time.
Kevin Smith.
Hi, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I don't want to take too much time. I will say that we're very excited about the fact that the RFP process for the rail operations has moved forward just as the county had committed to doing, and that the awards contingent on legislative approvals have been made. We're really happy to see that the Catskill Mountain Railroad is potentially going to be operating in the Kingston section. That was the section that the railroad company said they really needed to have for their future viability. So we're excited about that. We're also very excited about the Rail Explorers concession out in Phoenicia and connected to the Empire State Railway Museum. My understanding is that that will be a heavily used concession, 7 days a week, multiple trips a day, and that will bring a great number of people, not just a couple of days a week in season, but all week round for an extended season. And these will be people that are exercising. It'll be a health benefit as well as rail operation. So we're looking forward to working with everybody, all the stakeholders here, whether it's New York City DEP, with Ulster County Planning, with both rail concessions, and do something truly, truly significant. Celebrate the historic nature of the corridor, identify the opportunities that are there to do that, to enjoy the nature and the rich natural resources of our area, and first and foremost, preserve the corridor, protect the corridor, and restore the corridor to the highest combinations of uses. It's very clear from the work that your body did last year that you know what the reality of the conditions are. You know what's possible and feasible and where that is in the corridor, and you've done your very best to accomplish that. Thank you very much.
Nick Mercurio.
Hi, I'll be brief. I'm Nick Mercurio, and I live in a trail town that is blessed with 2 rail trails. That's Rosendale. I witnessed the same flow of visitors that Ray Cosentino sees in Lloyd. All towns should share in this blessing. I said this last month, I'll say it again this month. The county executive had a vision for the corridor. The legislators worked hard for 10 years to research and study the options. Representative democracy gave us a plan. We all win with the compromise. Let's stick to the plan and move forward with the rail and trail policy. Thank you.
And Frank Nazaro.
Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Wie geht es Ihnen? I'm glad to be here tonight. Oh, wrong country. You wouldn't know it by the way you've been acting lately. My grandfather used to say, what do you call 5,000 legislators at the bottom of the ocean? A good start.
Let's have a little bit of decorum.
That is, thank God. The reality is that the rail with trail is the highest and best use of the corridor, which has been open since 1872. It produces, with the county's past studies going back to the 1970s, as many as 1.5 million visitors. That's documented, and we can show you more documentation than you're willing to admit. So 2 or 3 minutes at a time until you're all blue in the face. I'm going to be here stating facts that are well documented. And look at the videos online. The 38.9 miles plus or minus of our Ulster County right-of-way that was cleared by Ryan Lennox. My grandmother, she was still here today, I mentioned this once previously, could do the rail with trail with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. The trail-only people have been not offering help a dime or an hour of their labor. It's all railroad. The railroad can build a free trail from New York City to Cooperstown, Oneonta, all the towns and villages that were bypassed by Scenic Route 28, and reconnect them, forming an economy that would be larger than Kingston IBM, would triple the tourist revenue for the county. $1.5 billion a year. I've been studying it for over 50 years. My grandparents were here. My great-grandparents started back at the turn of the century, owning real estate and developing along the right-of-way. You know, there's too much to discuss, but the scheme to defraud is being exposed, and various people are looking into it. The documents are piling up. So think about it. You still have time.
That's the last speaker signed up. We will move to the consent agenda. I believe, leaders, that there are some moving around into and out of consent.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We'd like to move to consent Resolution 288, 303, and 319.
And we would like to ensure that Resolution 314 is moved from consent to non-consent.
On the moving to and from consent, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, now on the consent agenda.
On the consent agenda, we are a short yes with the following abstentions. Legislator Worrell, Resolution 299. Legislator Maloney, 319. And Legislator Lapp, 309.
And Legislator Worrell, too, correct?
Yeah,
they
I said Legislator. Yeah, I'll do it again. Legislator Worrell, 299.
Thank you. Sorry,
Mr. Chair.
Purposes of employment.
Thank you.
What are they? What are the different ones?
It was. I imagine the first one was a Family of Woodstock contract. The second one was the sale of the tax properties, and the third one is the community college budget.
Did 319 get passed? Can't vote on that?
What are you talking about?
319?
Who is not? Why? What happened with the?
I'll say it again. I'm sorry. We're a short yes on the consent with the following abstentions. Worrell abstaining from Resolution 299. That's Family of Woodstock. Legislator Maloney abstaining from 319. That's the sale of the county property. Do you want me to go into detail? He's the assessor of the town of Ulster, and one of the properties.
I would leave it at that, Carl.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You're looking for more information. This is the second time. Legislator Lapp, 309 for the Ulster County Community College budget for employment purposes.
Oh, all right. I didn't know he worked there. I'm sorry. I thought he was.
He works there. Okay.
Legislator Donaldson, you got to get to know your legislators better. That's all.
The Democrats without abstention are a short yes.
The resolutions are adopted 22-0 with the exception of Resolution 299, which is adopted 21-0 with one abstention. Legislator Worrell, Resolution 309 is adopted 21-0 with one abstention. Legislator Lapp, and Resolution 319 is adopted 21-0 with one abstention. Legislator Maloney.
Resolution 174, requesting transfer from contingent account pursuant to Budget Amendment Number 15 of 2015, appropriating funds to the Awareness Program and amending the 2016 Ulster County budget.
We're a short yes with 2 noes. Ronk and Gerentine.
We are a short yes with 1 no. Legislator Briggs.
I'm sorry, Legislator Gerentine, you wanted to be heard on it? I will hold off on announcing the vote until after you're finished.
All right. Basically, we're not against funding awareness in any way, shape, or form. At least I'm not. The whole point is that the way this was all done, we had a budget in place. Everybody voted on it. It was done through Ways and Means unanimously. It was done through the legislative body, whatever the vote was at that particular time. I mean, if we're going to have a budget process, then we should have a budget process. If we're not going to have a budget process, then we can be, hey, let's do this, let's fund this, let's not fund this. We don't have pork barrel money like Albany does. We are very cautious with our money, and there again, there's a time and place to fund projects and fund different agencies, and that was supposed to be done during the budget process. Unfortunately, I don't know why it has changed regarding, what are we, in June of this year? So there again, that's why I'm a totally no against this.
Announce the vote.
The resolution is adopted 19-3.
Resolution 251, amending the rules of order to set procedure for memorializing resolutions.
On the resolution?
We're a short yes with 2 noes. Belfilio and Lopez.
We are a short no with the following yeses: Legislator Briggs, Legislator Donaldson, Legislator Lauren, and Legislator John Parody.
The resolution is adopted 13-9.
I just want to say a quick congratulations to Legislator Rich Parody on that. He has sponsored some sort of a resolution like this every single year since I've been a legislator. So congratulations.
I had to switch sides. Thank you.
Resolution 287.
Can I say one other thing? For those of you guys that want to talk about non-county business, we did that one. Too bad. Run for state office or federal office.
Resolution 290, establishing and reporting a standard.
Gracious and humble as usual.
Establishing and reporting the standard workday for elected and appointed officials.
Short yes.
No, I believe that there's an amendment. Legislator Rodriguez.
Thank you. So, if I may, Mr. Chair, this is Resolution 290, right? So, we have an amendment for Legislator Berkey, as opposed to it being TBD. It should be 20.99. Bless you. And that actually should be in everybody's resolution.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second that amendment.
5 days a week.
On the amendment?
We're a short yes.
Short yes.
On the resolution?
We're a short yes.
Short yes.
The resolution is adopted as amended 22-0.
Resolution 314, appropriating funds from advertising on buses to purchase bus parts and equipment, Department of Public Transportation, UCAT.
Legislator Donaldson.
This is the money that is coming in from the ads, and I understand that, they're appropriating that money for the ads, but I'm going to be a no vote on this because my take on it is the ads on these, I don't think we should be promoting litigation, shall we say. We want everybody to go out and sue because that's basically what we're doing with the ads we press.
Sorry, that was me.
All right, I'm sorry, I take it back. No, actually, I don't. In other words, what we're doing is instead we have all our buses have, most of them are, and don't get me wrong, many of the attorneys are actually personal friends of mine that I see on those buses, which is fine. But the idea is promoting the mindset of litigation. It's not promoting what the county should be promoting, and it's county services of what we do. We have an epidemic in Ulster County dealing with mental health. Our mental health delivery is really lacking anymore. Not only that, but we have other things that we could also talk about. Smoking. You take a look at the some of the commercials and the posters and the things that were done. They are remarkable. They should be on the side of that bus. We need to promote. We brought up Legislator Benfiglio was talking about, you know, the idea of drug abuse and how to deal with that. Well, we're not looking at that. We're not dealing with the very thing we should be dealing with when we're putting the ads on buses. So my take on it is I don't support that type of ads. I understand that right now it's just appropriating the money, but I think we need to take a look at it, and this body needs to take a look at it, and we need to make a policy that these types of ads should be. I mean, we have 16-year-old girls getting pregnant. They need to know where they need to go. They need that kind of information. We're not giving them that information the way we could, and we could deliver it a lot better with these buses, particularly with the idea of who even rides the buses. So there's so many things that could be used as public service on those buses, you know, instead of what, you know, we don't need McDonald's signs on the buses either. So I'll be a no.
On the resolution, Legislator Belfiglio?
Our caucus is a short yes. Mr. Chair, we are a short yes with the following noes: Legislator Bartels, Legislator Donaldson, Legislator Hepner, and Legislator Lornan.
The resolution is adopted 18-4.
Now, as I understand, resolutions 289 and 321 were withdrawn by the sponsor. With that, that is the last resolution. Tonight, Legislator T.J. Briggs will be reading tonight's memorials.
I'll do my best to get the names proper. David Scheffel, Farquhar, Varina, North Carolina. Sarah Gollinger, Ellenville. Angelina Lambery, Saugerties. Agatha Kerr, Hurley. Vernon Ronk, Lake Katrine. Janet Murphy, Suffern. Wolfgang Adels, Shokan. Haley Armstrong, Kingston. Patricia Yerkes, Pine Bush. James Cusack, Kerhonkson, and by the way, James Cusack was one of the owners of Villa Veritas in the Kerhonkson area. John Perrone, New Paltz. Richard Parker, Wallkill. Daniel Landy, Kingston. James Sheedy, Port Ewan. Carolyn Lewis, Wallkill. John Shea, Wallkill. Reginald Sutter, Sr., Algerville. Rita Laporte, Ulster Park. Gilbert Crum, Port Ewan. Edith Smith, Pine Bush. Ethel Wilhelm, Saugerties. Henry Wenzel, Jr., Marlborough. Carly Bradley, Brooklyn. Leona Shritsky, Saugerties. John Newmeyer, New Paltz. George Lowe, Pine Bush. Gerald Kelder, Jr., Kingston. Donna Middow, Kingston. Alan J. Taylor, Bloomington. Devin Judware, Port Ewan. John Stockey, Wallkill. Robert Dolan, Wallkill. George Hahn, Saugerties. John Wojciechowski, Jr., Allenville. And if I may, just for a moment, John Wojciechowski was hired by the Shadowland in February of this year. And in the short time he was there, he really became not only a member of the Shadowland family, but really changed the face of the Shadowland. John was also the brother of Steve, our security guy downstairs. And, you know, John was only 50, and he will be missed not only for the man that he was, but the talent that he had at the Shadowland, you know, his marketing skills, the reason he was hired. Just this, the last play at the Shadowland saw a 16% increase in attendance, and a lot of that's attributed to John. It came as a shock to all of us, but again, he will be missed not only for his talent, but for the man and the person that he was. And again, in the short time that he was with us at the Shadowland, he he became a part of us, and he'll be sadly missed.
Thank you, Legislator Berkey.
Two treasured friends of my family. One was Rebecca Dabrowski from Rochester, New York, who died yesterday at George Washington School. She was one of my son's teachers. And Warren Hurley of High Falls, New York, whose contribution, first of all, he's a wonderful artist, and his landscapes appears in the open space plan, which the Ulster County Legislature adopted in 2007. Thank you. So if you can add those to your list.
Legislator Parity, Rich?
Thanks, Chairman. I'd also like to add the name of Ann Leifeld. Ann is Town of Olive resident, and her husband, Bert, was the supervisor of the Town of Olive for many years, and he just retired. So she passed away yesterday. Thanks.
Legislator Worrell?
I'd like to add the name of David Zimmer. He was past chief of Saugerties Hook and Ladder.
And I'd like to just draw some attention to a couple of them. John Perrone from New Paltz is a former undersheriff. Bob Dolan, I just want to reflect on him for just one moment. Bob was a great friend, mentor growing up. He owned Dolan's Orchard in Walk Hill, a great philanthropist involved in all of the civic organizations, and it's going to be a real loss to the community. With that, the next regular meeting of the Ulster County Legislature will be held on Tuesday, July 19th at 7 p.m. in the Legislative Chambers, 6th floor, Ulster County Office Building, 244 Fair Street, Kingston, New York. Resolution deadline is Wednesday, June 29th at 12 noon. We're still looking for a theme for next month, I believe, so, keep the ideas coming. Kevin, thanks for that one today. It was really inspiring. And with that, Legislator Litz. Motion for adjournment. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.